Okay. Good evening, everyone. Today is Wednesday, June 3rd, 2020. It is now 7:03 p.m. My name is Kristen Lawrence. I'm a public utility law judge at the Maryland Public Service Commission. Tonight, we are here for the purpose of a public hearing in case 9635, which is captioned in the matter of the application of Newmarket Solar LLC for a certificate of public convenience and necessity to construct a 50 megawatt solar photovoltaic generating facility in Dorchester County, Maryland. The applicant, Newmarket Solar, is seeking authority to construct a 50 megawatt alternating current generating capacity solar photovoltaic facility in Dorchester County, Maryland, pursuant to Section 7-207 of the Public Utilities article of the Annotated Code of Maryland. Copies of the application are available for viewing at the Dorchester County Planning and Zoning Office, Dorchester County Office Building, Room 107, 501 Court Lane, Room 111 in Cambridge, Maryland. The purpose of this initial public hearing is to introduce the project and solicit comments on the project from members of the public. Anyone wishing to speak tonight was notified to send an email by 12 noon yesterday. 2 emails were received, and those persons were sent a link to join the meeting this evening. At this point, I'm going to share my screen. All documents filed in this case are available on the Public Service Commission website, which can be accessed. The case can be accessed by using this case search feature over to the left side, typing in the case number 9635. And hitting go. And there it is. So the case jacket comes up, and all the documents filed in the case can be viewed as long as they're not confidential. Written comments on these matters may be submitted either electronically or by first-class mail. If they are submitted electronically, they should be submitted to the Public Service Commission's public comment drop box, which is found in about the middle of the web page under Tools, Make a Public Comment. Instructions for logging on into the public comment Dropbox are located under the Tools section and under that tab. Commenters utilizing the public comment Dropbox are required to complete a one-time registration. All comments must include a reference to case number 9635. If comments are submitted by first-class mail, they should be addressed to Andrew S. Johnston, Executive Secretary, Maryland Public Service Commission, William Donald Schaefer Tower, 6 St. Paul Street, 16th floor, Baltimore, Maryland, 21202. And I will post that address at the end of the meeting. This hearing will consist of presentations by the parties to the case, the Department of Natural Resources Power Plant Research Program, otherwise known as PPRP, the Maryland Office of People's Counsel, OPC, if they are able to join us, and the staff of the Public Service Commission. After that, anyone wishing to speak who has joined us will have time to do so. A second public hearing will be held in Dorchester County, if possible, on August 19th, 2020, with the final time and location to be determined. And a notice will go out, as a notice did of this meeting. An evidentiary hearing is currently scheduled for August 25th, 2020, to be held, if possible, at the Public Service Commission's offices in Baltimore. This time, we will hear from the applicant. I'm going to, Mr. Bigelman, you're unmuted. Everyone else is muted.
Thank you, Your Honor. And thank you, everyone in attendance for joining us this evening. My name is David Bigelmans. I'm from the law firm Gordon Feinblatt. I serve as the attorney for the project's application for a CPCN from the Public Service Commission, which is the primary permit to construct and operate this project. I have with me virtually tonight several representatives from the project. From Sun Energy One, the parent developer of the project, I have with me Linda Noddyke. In addition to that, we are joined tonight by Dane Bauer and Melissa Hall from H&B Solutions, who are the environmental consultants for the project. They put together the bulk of the environmental review for this facility, which is contained in an environmental review document currently on file with the Public Service Commission and accessible via the docket search that Judge Lawrence just showed the audience. At this point, Your Honor, I'll hand the virtual microphone over to Dane Bauer, who will provide an overview of the proposed facility. So if he could be unmuted. Again, thank you very much for joining this evening, and we look forward to hearing your comments.
Okay, I've muted Mr. Bielemans and unmuted Mr. Bauer.
Hello, this is Dane Bauer, one of the owners of H&B Solutions. We've been in business for 6 years, and 85% of our work is focused solely on doing environmental review documents for new utility scale solar projects. We've been currently working for Sun Energy on this particular project. Maryland may not be familiar with them, but they're one of the big players in the country. They're the 5th largest solar developer in the country. They have 1 gigawatt of projects approved and in the ground. They have a big presence on the East Coast. They're in Carolina. They have 2 offices in North Carolina and 1 in Connecticut. This particular project, their goal was to achieve a 50 megawatt facility at this location in Newmarket. It's on Railroad Avenue between 2 streets that are connected. One is Thompson and one is Richardson Road. The project has about 280 acres proposed in the limit of construction. When we were engaged to review the project for the client, they suggested and we recommended that the entire technical team be a Maryland team. So all the people working on this project have done other Public Service Commission utility scale solar projects. When we did the evaluation, the area obviously was much larger than 280 acres. We spent months developing an environmental constraints map and document. We walked the site with the state to do the wetlands assessment. And one of the good things on this project is they were isolated and they could be completely avoided. It's not in the Chesapeake Bay critical area. It's not in a tier 2 waters catchment area or near any tier 2 stream. The grades are relatively flat. The stormwater will essentially be non-rooftop disconnect credits. There will be very minimal grading. A lot of this area that we're using was a previous farm. So this, once the project were to be approved and installed, would be considerably less impacting to the property. They have done different analyses like shading and glare analyses, and MHT has been contacted to do the archaeological assessment. They came back with a letter indicating that no phase 1 assessment was studied. They only required DOE forms, determination of eligibility on 4 homes. We got a letter back saying this project would not be impacting to any of those. We're not in any kind of a floodplain. We got another letter from DNR that indicated there's no threatened and endangered species that will be impacted on the project. There'll be a security fence around it. There's no water and sewer. These things are remotely monitored. The only real activity will be during after that. There'll be very infrequent visits to the site. It doesn't generate traffic. They're going to interconnect at a substation that's actually across the street on Railroad Avenue. That's the Newmarket, East Newmarket substation. It's a 69 kV. They have gotten several studies done with the PJM that has to approve the interconnection. They've done the feasibility and the system impact study, and they're in the queue. They have engaged us to do a decommissioning plan, which will be required by the Public Service Commission. They've already made arrangements to achieve the Forest Conservation Act mitigation requirements for afforestation. We're not cutting any forested areas. So in whole, the environmental document, which as you've indicated and is on the record, indicates that this is a very good site from an environmental regulatory standpoint in order to locate a utility scale solar project. That's basically the summary. Thank you.
Mr. Begumans, I've unmuted you.
Thank you, Your Honor. That concludes our presentation. Thank you very much.
We'll move on to, well, Mr. Towson, did you want to introduce Ms. Rogers, or how did you want to proceed?
Yes, I'm happy to do so, Your Honor. Am I unmuted?
Yes, you are unmuted, and so is Ms. Rogers now.
Jenny Rogers is the PPRP program manager for this project. Obviously, we are in the early stages of reviewing it and sending out data requests to get more information. Our direct testimony is due in August of this summer, if everything goes well. I will turn this over to Ms. Rogers to tell you about issues that are going on as far as connection with the local county, Dorchester County officials, and things like that. But at this time, it's very preliminary, and our hope in this hearing is we hear from the public tonight to hear whether or not they're generally favorable or unfavorable or have concerns, so that we can take those concerns into consideration and address them in our review of the application. So with that, I would turn it over to Ms. Rogers.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jenny Rogers, and as Steve said, I work for the Power Plant Research Program, and we coordinate the state agency review and eventually come up with recommended licensing conditions if we decide to grant the CPCN and include those conditions in the final version of the CPCN. As Steve said, we're just preliminary starting our review, and I'm starting to reach out to both Dorchester County and also the mayor of East Newmarket and starting to talk with them. So that's about it on my end.
Mr. Towson, did you have anything to add?
No, I would just say if the commission decides to grant the CPCN, the PPRP will be making its recommendations as to whether to grant, deny, or grant with conditions in accordance with Natural Resources Article 3-306 or 3.1, I think, or 3-306. Other than that, no.
Okay, and those recommendations will be available prior to the second public hearing that we have scheduled, correct?
Yes, Your Honor. Right now, I'm seeing the second public hearing is set for August 19th, and we're supposed to file direct on August 14th. So it's a 5-day window there where hopefully people can go in and see it and download it and read it. That's the current schedule.
Okay. Mr. Albert, I've now unmuted you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Kenneth Albert on behalf of Commission staff. Staff will be filing testimony, as it always does, on requests for authorization to install or construct a solar project or any generating project. We will file testimony. We will participate in the hearing. We do, as a practical matter, rely on our sister agency, Power Plant Research Program, PPRP, to do the heavy lifting on the environmental mitigation. And if anyone has any questions about how the Commission's processes, feel free to contact me.
Mr. Albert, how would they contact you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Your Honor. My email address is kenneth.albert. That's A-L-B as in boy, E-R-T as in Tom. Kenneth.albert at Maryland, spelled out, .gov. And yeah, please feel free to let me know if you need any questions about how to participate in the case.
Thank you, Mr. Albert. Okay, as I said, I had received 2 emails. One was from a staff writer at the Dorchester Star Democrat, and then a member of the public. I don't believe either of them have joined us this evening. I'm going to again share the screen to show the method of sending in written comments. I know we've actually already received one set of written comments, and if anyone who watches this on YouTube would like to send in written comments, this is the address to send them. Again, you can also file them electronically, and there will be a second public hearing in August, so look for that. Does anyone have anything else they wish to say this evening before we conclude? I don't see anyone shaking their head or raising their hand. So I'm just going to leave this up. Thank you everyone for being here this evening. Take care.